ES6 introduced something called as a object destructuring, and to demonstrate the same, let's take another example here. So ex11.js. First, let me create a object here. So let p1 equals to an object where I'll have name of, let's say, Vinod, city, say Bangalore, and email, let's say vinod@vinod.co. Suppose if I want three variables called name, city, and email, which borrows the value from p1. What I would be doing in the older versions of JavaScript is, I may say here, let name equals to p1.name, and then let city equals to p1.city, let email equals to p1.email. Now, instead of doing this lengthy style, so I can simply say let in curly bracket name comma email comma city equals to p1. So the right hand side is an object with n number of properties, but we want only these properties from that object. Now I can just go and type here console log name and then copy paste this to print the email and city. Save this, go back to the command prompt and run node ex11, and you'll see that I'm able to access the local variables name, city, and email, which have got their values from p1. Now, in case if I do not want city, I don't need to give this. I can simply say give me only the name and email from p1, because p1 may be a very complex object with lots of properties. So that's also fine. So I'm going to run this, and this time it's going to give name and email alone. I may also say give me a property called country. Now note that country doesn't exist in p1, but if I copy paste this and print country here, since p1 didn't have country, so p1.country is undefined, so this country will be undefined. So I'm going to save this, go back and try running, and you can see the last output is undefined. So the destructuring concept can also be applied on arrays. So we can say here, for example, let nums equals to a bunch of nums randomly. Now if I want, let's say the numbers 10 and 20 are the first two numbers of this array to be assigned to two variables, I can always say here, let in square bracket n1, n2 equals to nums. Now this way, the first value from the array is copied to the first variable, second value from the array is copied to the second variable. So I type here console.log n1 equals to n1 and copy paste the same thing, change this to n2, save this, go back to the command prompt, run the same, and you can see n1 and n2 have been copied from the actual array nums. Now in case if you want the rest of them to be copied to another variable, this is where you can use what's called rest operator, the triple dot operator. We saw that in the previous video. I can just put here triple dot and then call it as rest nums, and of course I'm going to copy paste the same. I'll type here rest nums, save this, go back to the command prompt, try running this once more, and you will see that n1, n2 have got the first two numbers. The rest of the numbers from the array have been copied to rest nums variable. The object destructuring can also be used with function parameters. To understand the same, let's take another example. So I'm going to create a new file ex12.js. Let's copy the object from the previous example. So I'm going to copy this p1 from there and paste it over here. And imagine I have a function which requires name and city. Let's call it as a function say hello, which needs name and city. And I want to print a message something like hello $name house weather in $city, like this. So in order to call this, I may have to supply here say hello p1.name p1.city. Save this, go back to the command prompt, node ex12, and it says hello Vinod, how is weather in Bangalore. Well, what if I want to supply p1, because p1 may have hundreds of properties. I want the name and city property to be picked up from p1. Now this is where you can simply surround these two variables with a curly bracket like this. So P1 is an entire object. So this is an object, but since we are using at the time of declaration of parameters, these will be created as two separate variables, name and city, destructuring P1. P1.name copied to name, P1.city copied to city. So I save it, go back to the command prompt, run the same program, and I should see the same output as well.